Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Pulaski County is creating ways to prevent heat-related illnesses for its schools. And after moving the City Hall and Police Department to one building, Neon City is hopeful it can fill in missing positions.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:30 on August 25th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And Brandon, we've been talking about that heat, especially for Friday nights. I know we just had sports. There's a lot of game delays and even some that were postponed.
Yeah, some games are now going on tomorrow. So again, you got to be contacting your schools, or if they haven't posted already, to find out if your game is on time, if your game is going to be a little bit later. I know we've even pushed the first game of the Pike County Bowl back an hour because of possible heat. And of course, turf fields are going to be a lot worse for that. And the game at Pike County tonight, two games in Pike County are on a turf field. So just be aware of that as you head out the door today. It's going to be a hot one, then storms come later. Let's take a look, see what's going on right now. Whitesburg, Pine Mountain, US 119, looking a little bit muggy up there right now. Mild to 75, a temperature right now. Daytime high will be much warmer than 75. Right now, 77 Moorhead, 75 Prestonsburg, Pikeville, 72 Somerset, 60s over in Southwest Virginia, 73 Logan, 73 Jacksboro, 73 Harlan, 68 in Williamsburg. Statewide already 80 Carbondale, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, 82. So again, it's warm out there, only going to get warmer today. 95 is where we're headed, and that could tie or break records out there across parts of the region. Already in the 70s this morning, heading up quick, and it's going to feel like air you can wear before the storms move in a little bit later today. Olivia?
Brandon, thank you. A Martin County man was sentenced to 60 years in prison following his convictions for producing and distributing sexually explicit images of a minor. 60-year-old Donald York of Beauty was convicted by a jury earlier this year on 4 counts of production of child pornography and 2 counts of distributing child porn. Evidence presented at the trial shows York coerced a 15-year-old female victim to engage in sexually explicit conduct. York then uploaded some of the images to a pornographic website. A Jessamine County grand jury will not indict police in the deadly shooting of Desmond LeDuc. It has been more than 10 months since a Nicholasville police officer shot and killed LeDuc. The shooting happened back in October of last year. Police claim LeDuc pointed 2 guns at officers, but the 22-year-old's family says he was only a danger to himself that day. After months of rallies and questions, LeDuc's family and friends are still frustrated.
It kills me that the one day that he actually needed help the most was his last day here.
LeDuc's family says he was having a mental health crisis. KSP says officers were sent to the house in reference to a suicidal subject in possession of a firearm. Our sister station has reached out to the family of LeDuc, who say they are still taking time to process the grand jury's decision. We are learning new information about a police chase Wednesday night in central Kentucky. State police say it started with a traffic stop on I-75 in Madison County. Troopers say the driver, Timothy Stone, refused to stop. The chase crossed into Garrett County and then back into Madison County. Police took Stone into custody and charged him with reckless driving, fleeing, wanton endangerment, and unlawful imprisonment. One Southwest Virginia dispatch crew got a 911 hang-up call at a home Wednesday night. When Buchanan County deputies arrived at the location, they found a woman later identified as 49-year-old Lisa Agosti of Grundy in a field behind the home with a firearm. 2 shots were fired by Agosti when she ran off into the woods. After searching for nearly 3 hours, Agosti emerged from the woods with the gun in hand. She was arrested on multiple charges and was taken to the Southwest Regional Jail with no bond. 2 Monticello men were brought into custody for drug trafficking. Justin Gregory was arrested Tuesday after Wayne County Sheriff's deputies executed a search warrant at a home on Wright Hollow Road. During that search, deputies found 2 bags of a crystal substance believed to be meth, along with multiple handguns and rifles. Gregory is facing multiple charges and was taken to the Wayne County Detention Center. In a separate case, Christopher Crabtree was arrested on Tuesday, also for drug trafficking. A deputy received a Wayne County District Court complaint warrant. The warrant stemmed from an investigation started by the Wayne County Sheriff's Office back in April of last year. Crabtree was charged with trafficking in a controlled substance. He was taken to the Wayne County Detention Center. In Laurel County, community members have helped police find a man wanted in connection to a burglary. 37-year-old Stephen Higgins of London was arrested on Monday at a home on McWhorter Street. The burglary occurred on East 4th Street in London. Detectives recovered the items Higgins had in his possession that were stolen from the burglary. He was charged with burglary and criminal mischief. Higgins was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. A Central Kentucky retired U.S. Army Special Forces soldier wants the federal government to do more for veterans. We have an update this morning on efforts to pass the Major Richard Starr Act. Kristen Kennedy sat down with its biggest supporters in the Bluegrass.
Retired Master Sergeant Leo Skinner isn't always comfortable talking about his benefits from his 21 years of active service.
To sit here and enjoy those benefits and enjoy my freedoms and know that they're not receiving those, that makes me pretty emotional because I know they deserve it.
The they he's talking about are the thousands of fellow veterans not getting full retirement and disability pay. Under current law, veterans must serve at least 20 years for that. The Major Richard Starr Act would change the law. It was introduced last year, but never made it to the floor for a vote.
What were you thinking when you realized this thing is not going to pass this year?
It was disappointing to see that it didn't pass because there are, Kentucky in particular, there are nearly 1,000 medical retirees with combat-related injuries that would benefit from this.
The Major Richard Starr Act currently does not have the support of Senator Paul or Senator McConnell.
No.
Why do you believe that it is crucial to have their vote on this?
They're both very well-known individuals. It carries a lot of weight. I think their co-sponsorship to this is extremely important, not just, for lack of better terms, giving it lip service. Their name needs to be on the line.
In Congress, 3 of our 6 representatives, Thomas Massie, Morgan McGarvey, and Andy Barr, support it.
You said that there is an informational gap within this act, and
Yes.
that could be keeping some Kentucky legislators from supporting it.
Yes.
Explain the gap to me.
With the informational gap as it stands, you don't know, okay, if they pass this and I currently receive combat-related special compensation, am I going to receive a benefit? That can't be answered because of this informational gap.
Skinner also thinks there's caution because there's still no solution to pay for it. All things he wants worked out after the passage of the bill.
How optimistic are you that this will pass this year?
I think it's going to be brought to a floor for a vote.
We will find out later this fall. Both chambers will be back in session in mid-September. Currently, Skinner says 71 senators support the Major Richard Starr Act, and 75% of Congress supports it too. But guys, a big hang-up here is where the extra funding will come from.
If you want to learn more about the Major Richard Starr Act, find this story on our website at WYMT.com. Governor Andy Beshear announced nearly $3.5 million in funding for road projects across the state. In eastern Kentucky, 12 projects were approved in 9 counties. You can see a list of those on our website. School leaders in southern Kentucky say they have plans to deal with the heat. Much of what happens is based on the heat index and what is required from the State High School Athletics Association. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to school leaders in Pulaski County about their plans.
Some bus rides home in Pulaski County can last an hour, given the large rural nature of the area. The buses are not air conditioned, but riders will get something extra on the way home this week.
So as they load the bus, they're going to be able to take a bottle of water with them on the bus. You know, we have some long bus routes. Pulaski County is a large county.
Recess is usually an outdoor activity, but it's being more closely monitored as well.
Our kids don't spend a long period of time at recess anyway. They get about 20, 25 minutes a day. which is good. Let them get out and burn that energy off. You know, they have ample water that they're able to get to.
Neither of the two high schools in the Pulaski County school system have games on Friday night, but they have adjusted their practice times accordingly. And in fact, the Somerset Independent High School football team has had their practice times in the morning hours. Most of what happens is mandated by the State High School Athletics Association.
Either they're canceling practices or they're you know, taking helmets or pads off, you know, depending on whatever the requirement is.
Paying attention to what the heat index shows is often the deciding factor.
Sports is our big worry with the heat. You know, we just want to make sure that those kids are protected.
Somerset High School has a game Friday night, but the two Pulaski County schools don't play until Saturday at the earliest. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Pulaski County school leaders say the heat index is closely monitored by athletic trainers and the KHSAA. The hot weather has also pushed back the game between Floyd Central and Leslie County to Saturday. The start of tonight's game at the WYMT Community Trust Bank Pike County Bowl has also been delayed by 1 hour due to the heat. The new Neon City Hall will not only house the mayor's office, but other services like their police department. Neon City officials made the move to the old Carty Funeral Home building, which is next to the Neon Volunteer Fire Department. The Neon police chief says despite the move, they have struggled filling positions.
Years ago, if you put out that you were looking for a police officer, you would have, you know, even in a small town like this, we'd have 100 applicants. Now, if we're lucky, we'll get 10 or 15 applicants.
Bourne says there are 2 officers, including himself, on staff at the police department. Coming up, Ed Sheeran announces a new album that could be coming to your playlist soon.
Scattered storms are on the horizon a little bit later today, but the big story once again is the heat. I'll have more when we can see some relief in about 3 minutes.